Geetha, what difference does it make to have, as expected, Netflix now ponying up cash?
Yeah, the difference that it makes, Danny, is that it really kind of assuages investor concerns about the falling Netflix stock value. So remember, after they announced that deal to acquire Warner for over 83 billion, the value of their stock has been consistently falling. And their previous deal was basically a stock and a cash mix. And really what they're trying to do here is not just assuage investors, assuage WBD shareholders, but also kind of speed up a shareholder vote, which should now happen in April. So really kind of getting things here on the fast track for the deal.
We were just showing a one-year chart of Netflix shares, and the interesting thing is not the move from 12 months ago, but the move from the peak. Thank you, Joe. Look at that peak, right? 33% we've fallen on Netflix since the peak in the shares. Obviously, that makes the deal worth less if it includes shares. So does this assuage those shareholders who would have gotten this paper? Are they much happier to have cash and therefore go along with the deal?
I think they definitely are, happier to have more cash. There's more certainty. Having said that, though, I mean, at the end of the day, Netflix is all about fundamentals, and of course, there has been. Ever since the Warner Brothers deal was announced, Matt, there has kind of been this overhang on the stock because it really kind of muddles the narrative of what was otherwise a really clean story based on just its fundamentals and revenue and subscriber momentum. But, coming back to, of course, we're dealing with a couple of different things here. There is regulatory uncertainty from the deal, whether it actually gets approved. And then let's say, even if it's approved, there is all the time, the fear of integration risk, execution risk. So there are lots of different things that still have to kind of be ironed out. But I think at the end of the day, if you're really looking at this as a long-term play, Netflix fundamentals are pretty strong, and they're really hoping and banking on the fact that Warner is only going to add to their engagement metrics, to their pricing power.
Doesn't that make this earnings awkward, though, Geetha? If Netflix comes out and says, look how strong we are, look at what our live sports did, look at how popular K-pop Demon Hunters is and the season finale of Stranger Things, can they kind of talk about that strength and at the same time say, it's not a needless spend to buy Warner Brothers Discovery? Don't the two, at least in the mind of shareholders, present a conflict?
Yeah, I mean, that has kind of been, the question. The question has been, is Warner really, has the deal been because of slowing growth? And if they come out and they report these blockbuster numbers, as you were just suggesting, then that actually just says that, no, our growth is absolutely fine. This is just us playing the long game, prepping for the future, prepping for a future when there can be AI disruption, when you do have, the possibility of short-form video from the likes of TikTok and Reels and YouTube kind of take over. We still have a great strategy. We have some of the best content, in the world. And so I think that actually then adds to their whole argument. So, it's a kind of a wait and watch here.
I wonder, if Netflix were to lose out to Paramount Skydance, how much of a competitive threat would the Ellison vehicle then be? I mean, does Paramount Skydance really become relevant in the streaming wars if they get Warner Brothers Discovery?
They definitely become more relevant than they are right now. But I'm not sure it's necessarily enough because they're going to be dealing with a whole lot of other problems, Matt. So, we're looking at leverage that's something like close to about 7 times. You do have the whole problem of integrating the two companies, dealing with different management teams. And then again, you have, Paramount Skydance, which itself is a relatively new company. Remember, they just acquired Skydance. This is a completely brand new management team. So they do have a lot to prove. It definitely puts them in a stronger position, but I don't think it makes their lead necessarily insurmountable.